Okay guys, cheers for coming in. Today we're just going to have a bit of a discussion on the barriers affecting growth of female rugby in Ulster, outside the province of Ulster, and the motivators that could be used to try and tackle those barriers. Okay, so a nice 10 words there. Alright. Reason I'm trying to do this is, from my perspective, I work at Ulster Rugby, so for a number of years I worked in male rugby, both on the strength and conditioning and the coaching side. For the last 5 years I've worked specifically on female rugby, and I've found that there are significant differences and significant challenges as well. There are also significant things that I prefer about it as well. But some of you guys, I don't know what your level of experience is with female sport. Obviously we've got one female in the room, but it's not a bad thing that we've got the other blokes, because you'll be thinking of it more from my perspective. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to get two things I'm trying to get out of today, and I want you to get out of today is, I want to try and identify some current barriers to Ulster achieving its growth potential. Okay, so the game is growing, but it's maybe not growing as fast as it could do. And also maybe identify some motivators which could be used to make rugby a more attractive sporting choice for females. Alright, so I want you to try and have a knowledge of that by the end of this, but also I want to try and tap into you guys, because I'm so involved in it on a day-to-day basis that maybe I'm always looking at it from one perspective. So if I can get a fresh perspective on it, that could help me in the long run as well. Happy with that? Alright, so
what? That was not a good noise. What did you have there?
Let's turn it up.
You couldn't make that up.
Not turn it up.
That's right.
What should everybody in this room should get bonus points in their presentations for overcoming technical hurdles. It's got the red light there.
You reach up to it.
it's just scroll the sleep, wasn't it?
It's so depressing.
I just pressed down to go to the next slide.
Whenever one of you looks at it.
It didn't sound good, did it?
You want to stand up and sit that far away from that.
You need the straight ladies.
I should grab back up again as well, so. Couple of
Who picked today to do this, huh? Who is today?
It wouldn't matter what we did it in this universe.
They're spending all the money.
Technology, isn't it?
They're spending all the money in Belfast. Spending money.
That's
Okay, the buildings are going up. They got a rate of knots.
I've stopped your time already. I'll let that play.
Is that definitely what the issue is, yeah?
Yeah, it's pouring back up now. Well, that isn't what we got around the screen. You're going to play a video there, are you?
I've got one a bit later, right?
Is there any research on workshops on the use of technology in workshops?
That's why I don't use much of it. I've had a machine blow up on me in a room. One of the group was sitting there. And it wasn't a group that knew each other, like it's just a random group of people. And it just blew up as soon as I hit the button. There you go.
We're back on.
Back in the room.
Alright. Wait till that actually comes up so you can see it. Alright, so just over the last sort of year and a half, the RFU will be looking at a strategy. So they've come up with this Women in Rugby Action Plan for the next 5 years. Now this is essentially the what they've got. So they've got a whole pathway, girls schools rugby into girls youth rugby into representative, we've got adult stuff. We've got I'm not going into all the detail of it, but third level, social game, all different things that they're trying to cater for. So they're very clear in what they want, but what's maybe a little less clear is how we're going to get there. Alright, because there are a number of problems and barriers to us getting there. So what I want you guys to do is to maybe get into groups, 1, 2, 3 groups, and just between yourselves, just draft a list of what you believe to be the barriers to the growth of female rugby within Ulster. If you don't have experience with female sport, that's alright. If you don't have experience with rugby, that's alright. But try and think what are the barriers that you feel might be stopping. We'll call it female sport development. Everyone happy with what we need to do? So take about 3 or 4 minutes. There's a paper there, a paper at the back, and a paper here. And really what I want you to do is draw upon experiences from your own sport, if it is your own sport, or just life in general, and see what are the barriers to female rugby in Ulster. Regional growth potential.
Seen as a passport.
Don't be going into too much detail, just sort of headlines we're looking for. What have you got? Are you going for a horizontal
No, it's
format?
he started writing that way, and I was started writing this way. You see. Oh, you right away, sure.
No, that's the point of it.
Social image. Right. Okay. Take this here.
There's quite a lot of things coming down here that I haven't even thought of, to be honest. Which is good.
Yeah. That's the term she's speaking.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Works me every sometimes when you hear it. Exposure, standard, so grassroots thing. Opportunities for competition.
Some fairly good comprehensive work going on here, good lists.
It's a good one. Teenage health standards.
Those are sort of profile, role model.
There you go, even on the sun, fantastic.
Are you interested when you try and
To the front. Outsider looking in. This is why outside the offer.
What do we need, guys, another minute or so, is that? Or do you need more? Minute or so, alright, Ben? Yeah? Minute or so, guys? Yeah? Minute or so, yeah? You guys, Ben?
Yep.
That on, can you just favor, can you bring yours up and stick it up on the board there? You can put that first there.
The sports themselves and the female context being relatively young.
Oh,
That's, I think that's the cause of some of these things.
Last 30 seconds or so, what's it? Perception of it? I'll bring these up after, sure. Yeah, so we can focus the guys on their ones. You have enough in that you're gonna. Pierce, are you conscious? Are you happy to talk us through that then?
You can come over here, so we see.
Well, I don't mind to say here. First thing I'd say is acceptance, from like your peers, from your peer group, and then we talked about what we heard about this morning, 10% sport personalities, and 6 personalities that they have. Difficult for late starters to get into. You know, rugby's a game that you play when you're younger, I think, especially for women, get the rules of the game and everything. Society, pressure of society to have a certain image, and like rugby may not tie in with that image that they want. Women role models, like there won't be many women role models in rugby that I know of, I don't know who you know, but
Yeah, no, it's all fair point, yeah.
Yeah, we just thought like grassroots exposure. You know, how much of it is played. Is that, you know, you talk about all the other games that we played, very, you know, the small sided games for the soccer, or when we heard about the GA playing, you know, that type of, you know, is it 5 or 7? You know, that's there's not, you know, how much of that goes on within groups,
Really,
within
general
teams,
exposure,
you know, to give them that, you know, opportunity. Social image, again, just, you know, rugby is still considered as what a stigma, as, you know, it's butchness. All right, and if you look about, you know, that image, it doesn't fit in with the attractiveness of a lot of girls being involved. You know, one of the things from the Sports Institute, when they did a conference before Christmas to try to get females in sport, and the theme was strong as attractive or something, or was words to that effect. You know, I mean, that, you know, when you look at athletic is an attractive thing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an issue. Definitely
So,
an issue.
you know, and you know, you gotta take the butch out of it. Probably associated with probably the injury aspect as well, that would be connected with the structure in schools is probably non-existent.
Okay.
You don't have, you know, like the GAA,
We'll
like,
touch on that,
yeah, you don't have, you know, like swimming, you know, kids go into the local council pools, and they've got municipal pools, and they get some exposure to it.
You might be surprised.
Right, okay,
Okay,
well,
yeah.
that's our impression, but we're talking about primary school.
Yeah.
Yeah, primary school, that's second school, not primary school, because that relates to the grassroots and how much time is actually spent, you know, within a training pathway to competition. The impression of the male game, you know, it's just because it's so successful and there's so much investment in it, you know, you're always going to play second fiddle. And then I think just not enough time spent on sevens.
Ooh, controversial at the minute.
Because
That's dead on.
I'll tell you the reason being, it's the skill factors involved, which connects with, you know, obviously the health aspect. All right, that you know, you think about, you know, the dropout in sport, where sevens requires obviously skill but athleticism, you know, and because it's a short, explosive game, you know, you pay, what is it, 7-minute thingies.
It's funny because this is the whole debate at the minute, is how should women's rugby be developed, and there's one argument saying sevens and another argument saying what about 15.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
That was just-
it's really good. It's really good insight. Really good
What do you
insight.
think, you know?
Really good insight.
I think we really just consolidate everybody else.
Yeah, if you just rattle through it, if there's just anything new there rather than.
Yeah, I don't think
Geographics, where we live, and if you
access, yeah.
think close to me, far side, west of Ban, there's only 2 clubs.
Yeah, where you're.
So I'm Staban. So you're going to either Toma or City Day.
Yeah.
So exposure that way.
Yeah.
So that would be one of the top funding is.
Funding, I think there's certain things, not to just repeat what everybody else has said, but the lack of funding in the school and the infrastructure, but as well as that, the expertise willing to come into the game, like yourself, to switch across from male rugby and bring the expertise into female rugby, and then its current development stage relative to the male side of the game, probably is still so young. And then, as well as that, as all these things develop, you know, the organisational side of things and the management and the coaching, all of those things have to start and evolve and develop and continue to add its, you know, the expertise.
Yeah, no,
in order to bring, and that's everything from participation through to, you know, executing, you know, gameplay and everything.
Role model one, we can only name Joy Neville, which is the referee.
Yeah.
So
Very
that's
good
another.
player.
And then you've got the media coverage, but the actual perceptions, attitudes, and you flip back to the referee in Grania.
Yeah.
They got badly rubbed off by a club. So no, that has a massive negative impact on, well, if that females get accepted by males, then why are they playing rugby? So
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I was going to draw on that example later. Guys, really good stuff. Last group then. Again, if there's stuff there that's been covered, you can guy go over, but if there's new stuff. Oh, good luck reading this.
Yeah, sorry. I teach PE, that's why I didn't know that. So how the game was interesting that the first one you went through how the game is portrayed. It's just seen as a man's sport from a woman's point of view. So that's obviously a really big one. Body image awareness. I think linked to that was the stereotyping. You know, sexuality. I know across in England it was a big thing. It was lesbians played rugby. That was the nature of it. The lack of knowledge and maybe saying how dangerous it is a contact sport. So that's probably the stereotyping still associated with it. I think over here there's probably with politics and religion, you've got all the different sports that are after different funding and after the same player pool.
Yeah.
So you're fighting that battle as well. Yeah, how many of your friends play it? You know, that because you said about the type of coach.
Yeah, like some coaches would be very reluctant to coach female sports because they don't see it as it's going to go anywhere compared to a men's team, because they'll probably reach elite, whereas they'll probably just stay grassroots or amateur. So some coaches just don't want to coach females.
Opportunities for competition. I know there is a lot of one-off term. I don't know enough about the structure, but boys play week in, week out every Saturday. How often do girls play? How long is their season? Inability to be flexible with sport. This is just my own personal opinion. Through teaching girls, I taught them touch for 3 years, and by the end of 3 years I had 900 girls playing touch rugby. But the national government body said, I'm not interested because they're not playing rugby, they're playing touch. But there was 900 girls that had 3 years worth of exposure to the multi-skills that could have led on. And so there was a real, no, they're not playing rugby, they're just playing touch.
Yeah.
No, they are, but if I'm only taking out one element of it,
Yeah.
you know, so there was that. So I think that was pretty much everything.
Yeah, no, excellent. Thank you very much. I mean, these are sort of problems I'm encountering on a daily basis. And to try and give an idea of where we're at, we've got 22 clubs in Ulster. Adult level, we've got a club in All Ireland League, then we've got 2 provincial adult leagues, Division 1, Division 2. We've got youth, under 18, under 16, under 14, under 12. We've got schools. We had over about 1,100 girls take part in the Girls' Schools Cup on a yearly basis. We've now got a second. We've got a full contact rugby Schools Cup, which has a final held in Kingspan, but it's kind of disappointing that nobody seems to know about it. Alright, so I've come up with a few myself. So I tried to sort of tie these in with a little bit of research rather than just stuff that I've come up with. Alright, so really there, you've touched on a lot of them there. So overall activity rates of children decline as they age, as girls get less active. So already we're fighting a battle. We're trying to attract what are typically a less active population. Educational programs, so some of you guys touched on the educational programs. I'm finding teachers a lot of the time are a barrier as well. So we're trying to get in, but it's all well, either it's going to interfere with hockey, or they're happy to do touch rugby or tag rugby, but they're not happy to play contact rugby, or they're just not willing to get girls involved in rugby at all. So we're finding schools a problem. Studies in Australia find that there was a lack of facilities for women, so that's one big barrier that we're having at the minute is all rugby has to be on Sunday for the females because very few clubs have the facilities for male and female. So that in itself is a barrier because obviously Sundays for some are religious, and we've touched on the religious aspect. We're now trying to move things to some Saturday stuff and Friday night stuff. And making non-traditional leisure choices requires exposure to environments and providing awareness and support for choices. So the reason I thought of this one is even the clubs that we have that are existing at the minute, a lot of them exist despite the wider club. We need to try and make them part of the fabric of the wider club. But you know, I'll not name names, but there is a club there who are very, very successful, but they have absolutely no support from the male side of the club. Does that make sense? Perception barrier, okay, so again, you guys have all touched on these. So it's highlighted as being soft and dainty implies femininity, whereas being aggressive, outgoing and sweaty implies masculinity, alright? So there is very much that perception, and I know of youth girls who are playing for Ulster under 18s and the Ireland under 18s who they would get bullied in school because of the perception that, oh, you must be gay because you play rugby. This one here as well is the whole female athlete perceived as too masculine, whereas feminine athletes can really reap the rewards. Immediately what I thought of this one was Anna Kournikova, okay? Moderately successful tennis player, but probably the best known tennis player certainly when I was younger. And actually when I googled her, she's one of the highest Googled. Her name was the highest Googled thing in the 1988 or something. So, and she's a moderately successful tennis player. And we also have this one, women found a lack of respect for female athletes from male counterparts. So that's where the Grania thing came into my mind. Was Grania's a referee. She was coaching at a male game, and she got absolutely dogs abused by. It made the press. Put it that way. It was that bad. So even the females that we have who are taking the step to get involved in the game are finding it difficult. So it's still very much that male-dominated thing. And then promotional barriers. Okay, so a lot of you guys have mentioned that you're not aware of stuff that's going on. I fight this battle on a daily basis, even within the IRFU, is to try and get more exposure for what we're doing. It is happening, but again, a lot of it comes down to the fact that the male game is the money driver. And again, you can read that for yourself. The cover usually emphasises female sports such as gymnastics, whereas the media are likely to be a major influence on children's views of gender appropriate sports. So if they're always seeing girls playing hockey or girls playing doing gymnastics, then that's why the young kids, they grow up thinking, well, you're different, there must be something wrong with you, this sort of thing. That's again where we're seeing those young girls getting dogs abuse, and that obviously would be quite off-putting. Again, promotional barriers. Can anybody name the two players?
Is it Briggs?
Best.
So who's this? Okay, who's this?
Is it me?
No, okay, so these are the two probably currently most successful male and female Ulster players. Okay, Rory Best, who we all know, Ashley Baxter. Okay, so Ashley Baxter's been playing rugby for probably the last 9 or 10 years. All right, played with Belfast Harlequins, went on to play at Cook. Subsequently now is a full-time professional at both 7s and 15s. Travelling the world, playing rugby, and then comes back. She's played in numerous World Cups. She's beaten the All Blacks. She's played on the side to beat the All Blacks. But yeah, nobody knows who she is. First thought, reflection.
Well, we don't know who she is.
Well, yeah.
Other people might know.
But you would be quite representative of the general population. That's the thing.
Yeah, and it's and even looking. I mean, how many do we know of the Irish women's hockey team who've been very, very successful as well? I mean, it's our ignorance to certain female sports.
I think this is definitely. I think this is female sport. Covers appropriate to female sport, but I suppose from my perspective, where I'm coming from it is from female rugby perspective. But I would agree with you. Everything, even in the task side, that's why I've said to you, try and draw on your own experiences, because the experiences that I'm experiencing in the rugby world, I'm sure.
I don't want to justify it in the least.
Yeah.
But if you look at sport generally, and I think we touched on it slightly in terms of female sport and its emergence or the stage of development that it's at, coupled with the media, coupled with funding, coupled with not just funding at the national governing body level, but also in terms of its sponsorships.
Yeah.
And where there's the male sports, they've cultivated these sponsorships and so on over decades, and it's not just endemic within rugby. It applies. There's huge arguments that are constantly going on in the media with tennis and Serena Williams and the Wimbledon prize money. Then you've got the NFL with the same arguments, both of how many female coaching leagues are there in the the NFL, rugby, and I think culturally there can't be a short sharp shock to fix it.
Yeah.
It has to sort of cultivate and evolve over time, but it is slowly starting to balance out. But it's going to take it's going to take everybody. It's going to take a coordinated effort between the sponsors, the media, the national governing bodies, and the coaching, and it's all got to come together. And it's a tide that's changing rather than.
I totally agree with you, because this one here that you guys put on the bottom of yours, so it is in its infancy, and a lot of the time the argument we get is, but in the men's game it's like this, in the men's game it's like this, but what there seems to be a forgetfulness about is that early 90s, the males were amateur athletes as well. They were having to go to work and fit training and left, right. So there is an educational aspect that we need to do to players and people involved in it. And I would totally agree with you that it is happening, and it will happen in time. I suppose from my perspective, what I'm trying to do is speed that process up as best I can within the capabilities that I have. Yeah. going to show a wee short video there, but I think I'll leave it. It's, there was a wee thing there, 2020, it's about trying to get 20% of attendances and 20% of press and 20% of players that are participants within sport by the year 2020. Ironically, there if you aren't supporting them because there's a sponsor conflict. So this is just a slide from, there's a Women's Sport and Fitness Foundation, so they looked at key reasons for dropout. So the size of the box relates to the sort of the degree that it was the impact. So they looked at bad coaches, lack of support from schools, competing social pressures, big jump from senior to leagues, and lack of players. I suppose realistically, this one, and this one are probably the ones that in my job role I can try my best to impact on. The more difficult ones are probably competing social pressures and conflicts with other commitments. They're probably the very difficult ones to try and tackle. The big one for me that's probably a big opportunity is the time for something new. Alright, and we're seeing that within rugby at the minute is we're seeing girls who've gone through, we've got massive transfer from GAA, we've got massive transfer from basketball. We've had girls who've taken up rugby at the age of 16 and they're playing Ireland senior women. There's a girl from Monaghan just recently there. She started rugby at 16 and got picked up, and she's now got a contract travelling the world playing international sevens just because of the transfer of skills. So that's a massive opportunity, but it also brings with it its own problems as well. So what I want to try and do is we've kind of identified the barriers here. All right. So from your perspective, and to try and help me out on my day-to-day basis, being quite selfish about it is, if you picked maybe one or two of your key barriers, maybe two of your key barriers, and if you can think of how, if it was you doing my job, how you might try and overcome that. Does that make sense? Yeah? Happy enough? Want to take a few minutes and just stay in your same groups and give you your seats back if you want them. Just 2 or 3 minutes there, guys, to get those down, alright? So just pick the top two, the two which you feel are, it may not be the top two, but the two that you think you could affect change on, if that makes sense. So obviously there's ones there like funding and stuff that, you know, that's not really in my job role or. You chosen your two yet? Even just go one. See, well, I found it quite a weird transition. There is this almost this perception I find that if you're coaching in the male game or in the female game, it's because you haven't been successful in the male game. You know, and
but it's also like
actually,
in my secondary school, like
I just think that's the key to get numbers down.
the males haven't coached the males, the females haven't coached the females, but if say if the female was offside, the other people being straight, the male would not take it, just get such change.
oh, no, well, that's just personalities, really, isn't it?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. What have you gone for, lads?
Is it one each or is it two each?
Just one each of these.
Aye.
Yeah. So what have you got?
I thought it was like a.
Increase the stroke minimum.
I was going to say focus on sevens.
Anthony Eady would know. He's a performance director. And that's his big thing.
Sevens?
What have you got, man?
We're just trying to think.
Chelsea did there.
I don't mind coaching them.
She's loving it, yeah.
40 and on the senior team.
Like, say, I think that would be like.
Okay guys, gonna have to hurry on, so maybe 30 seconds or so there, and then we'll just get the feedback.
Just like that back. Well, it's fun.
Probably not solve it, just give me a few ideas, just think of a few ideas, just get the thinking process, the juices flowing. We're never gonna solve it. Okay lads, happy enough, ladies? Start with the guys at the back then, do you just want to feed back to the group? You can just do it from there, sure.
Right, the point I thought most important was PR and media for the sport. So you have newspaper coverage, like just take it from like a GA example, girls sport is always in the middle, papers never on the back page, no matter how successful the team is. Then you have social network, the perception that people have of girls sport, that how that can be improved. TV, I think this is the most important one. You know, the boys at the schools Rugby Cup final, maybe the girls could get that exposure too, on it. And then athlete profiles, you have to promote the athletes, like GA, I'm thinking at the moment, like legal run, it's like We Matter, hashtag We Matter.
Yeah.
And it's like all these women athletes are saying, like, what they have in the same levels as boys and not getting the same exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to go for the sevens, Neal, but I just thought, I think if you're getting at the bottom end, you know, to try to get that clarity around, you know, the profile of the sport. You know, and I just said grassroots initiative, you know, you see how successful, primary school level, you see how successful it is for the boys. And we just put, you know, looking at those initiatives, listen to some of the comments earlier on about what they do with the different sports that are very successful, 5s, 7s and 9s. You know, so you're going, you know, the smaller games, you're going obviously the 7s and you're going the 9s, I mean, you know, to work towards the 15s. You know, I think are, you know, definitely ideal ways to potentially, because you're already saying you've got pathways at secondary school but not at primary school, would that be right?
Yeah, 100%. That's down. Thanks guys. You're up.
So we went with the geographics, so maybe a roving training session so that the girls are on the move in their different areas. You mentioned the girl from Monaghan, traveling from Monaghan to Belfast, why not bring it to her? And then obviously she's going to be the highlight of that, where she's saying, look, we're training here, the men's team do it. So
No, it's a bit hard for debate at the minute. So we're based in Lisburn at the minute in Wallace High School, and so girls are all having to travel. These are all really, really good things, and they're ideas that I want to take back, and it's brilliant to get fresh ideas from you guys, and it's the practicality of doing it.
there's a thing just sticking in my head, the try. You know the way you have the try as in the running, cycling, swimming try?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
try.
That's the
We've got a hashtag give it a try is the one for girls
You
working.
could go, they can incorporate it as a fun session.
Yeah.
I know I went along and watched the men's one because it's the one Academy, and obviously Liz Stevenson was in, he was my year at uni, so
Yes.
that was my attachment to going there, else I wouldn't probably win. But if you think of that girl's there training, so someone's got an attachment to her, it's going to expose in that area.
No, perfect. Thanks guys. Last up.
We went with the type of coaching that happens, and how there's a stigma maybe associated with coaching women's rugby, and how that changes who it is that coaches. I mean, there's no easy. We really struggled with ways of doing it. You know, things like guest coaches from top end, whether that's women's Irish coaches, whether it's Ulster coaches, whether it's men's Irish coaches, coach education. I don't know. I need to know more about what coaches are coaching in the local game, whether it's just the parents of the girls or.
Yeah, it is a big issue in terms of quality of coaching. I would say it's probably a big issue. At the minute with the female game.
In the GA, you have to have a specific qualification. There is the foundation level 1, level 2 for the males, and then it's the same. So if you're a male coach, you can't just one coach.
The RFU would be reluctant to differentiate.
Because there's no real differentiation. It's the same kind of coaching qualification, but then it's based around the female, or the development of the female, which is totally different from the male. So it's actually worked very well, and it's cut out the number of people that
we allowed to say that anymore?
Oh, well,
What did you?
it's cut out the number of people that are going in raw and thinking, oh, I can't coach scared sport, whereas this is saying them, well, you can coach scared sport. So,
Perfect. Guys, I'm just gonna, thanks very much for your input, by the way. I'm just gonna have to battle through things here. So, a lot of the things you've highlighted are things, and there's new stuff there that I haven't thought about, and you know, these are conversations that I need to take to, you know, I'm not the decision maker, but there's things that I can take on board back to base. But just in sort of summary, we touched on it there earlier. Okay, so one size is enough, and also there's different motivations out there. So some girls will never like rugby, some girls will take attracted to rugby straight away. So no matter what we do, there are going to be people we'll never be able to bring on board. All right, be it coaches, there may be coaches that we're never able to bring on board. But in terms of attitudes and behaving, as they pass through life, aspirations might change. So what we're seeing is girls who are involved in hockey, or you know, out and out hockey players in secondary school, when they go to university, decide actually I want to try and do something else. That's why we're getting the late beginners. We have a lot of late beginners now taking on rugby for the first time at 20, 23, 24, 25 even. Or Michelle in her 40s. The last one there, as you touched on, is behaviour change is challenging. So what we're really trying to do is change behaviour and mentality and culture. But there is no magic bullet. But things are constantly changing and we're still learning. So I do feel that we're going in the right direction. I just really wanted to tap into you guys to see if we can get any help how to do it. Job done. I'll take a photo actually, yeah.
Hey, I would do, nice stuff there. Right, one to go.
Neal, on an aside, is there a difference between Leinster and Ulster, men and women? I look at the men's game and go how far behind Ulster